Okay, welcome back to the channel overview. So we've recently seen some launch of some new irons from brands, so it's time to do some comparisons. So I've got the brand new Ping i59 iron in my hands here. Beautiful looking golf club, performed really well both in the studio dry ball data as well as on the golf course testing. You can go and check those videos out, I'll link them up above, and I'm going to put it up against the ever popular TaylorMade P770. So two similar irons in this category, both hollow construction, very similar on the lofts. We're going to put them against each other. We've got TrackMan on the floor as always, provide you with some numbers and see if there is a winner between these two irons. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Ping i59. So as I said in the review, beautiful looking golf club launch from Ping. Forged head, we've got that hollow construction, very nice sort of neat sort of club head behind that golf ball. Looks really nice, great looking golf club. Lofting, i59 lofting in at 34 degrees of loft, so obviously we've got that more traditional loft. So these two irons are sort of aimed at that sort of maybe low teen golf handicap, into the single figures, into that, you know, that ball player who's got that probably a little bit more consistent ball striker. But both these irons are still offering a little bit of forgiveness. Yeah, that's a nice sort of opening shot there from Ping. Touch low in the face. I'm going to get really picky. So we're probably not going to see big distances from these two irons, but we're going to maybe take a look at how they look behind that golf ball, how they sort of feel in the contact, you know, the ball flight, and probably more than maybe the consistency in terms of that launch, the ball speed, the front to back dispersion. Obviously left to right we always talk about as golfers, but sometimes that front to back dispersion is really important. So these types of irons, we're trying to get that consistency of that spin and that carry distance. Okay, really nice high ball flight as you sort of expect from this type of iron at, you know, 34 degrees of loft. Okay, so not bad carry there, 170. You know, as I say, we're not going to see huge amounts of ball speeds from a 34 degree lofted club, so you see about 119. Not always my fastest there, but again, 34 degrees is going to limit that a little bit. Spin number up and over that 6,000 mark, which we'd expect to sort of see. Again, nice strike, just a little bit of right to left on that particular shape, but nothing too untoward. So we've got that, you know, that hollow construction from Ping here. So as I've always said, you know, with these hollow constructions, sometimes acoustics are sacrificed a little bit, you know, sometimes just a little bit clickier on that contact, you know, with that sort of maybe the sound waves running in and around that sort of hollow head in comparison to like a full body forged sort of iron head in a way. So, but again, I think it's a good feeling golf club, this from Ping. You know, we saw that when I took it out on that golf course. It does feel good. It's got that playability. Oh yeah, that's a good strike. Yeah, just a touch left, but really good flight. Nice high flight. You sort of got a lot of confidence in that descent angle there coming into land. You can see, yeah, so 120, a little bit higher on that ball speed. Really good strike there, 173 carry. You see that land angle, 48.5 degrees, so it's coming in with plenty of stopping power there. Oh, that's lovely. That's a nice shot. Again, just seems to be a really nice, consistent window that ball tends to sort of come out on. Right, there's a few shots hit with that Ping i59. As I said, I've done a full in-depth review of that. I'll link it, you can go and check that out, and also my on-course testing in some different environments, different lines out on that golf course. But let's jump into the TaylorMade P770 and we'll hit some shots with that. Right, okay, so TaylorMade P770, I've got this set up in the same way. 79 again, this is obviously 33 degrees of loft, so it is 1 degree stronger than the i59, so possibly expect a tiny bit more ball speed, maybe a little bit less spin, possibly because of that slightly stronger loft, but we'll see. Again, first visuals, great looking iron. I think this is a little bit of one that just sits under the radar a little bit. Obviously P790 is the big one TaylorMade will push, very popular iron. Maybe flat golfer coming out of that game improvement iron, moving into more of what they call the P series, which stands for players. But then the P770 is very much like the 790, but just in that smaller package, a little bit more squat head. Very similar sort of on the look, and a great looking iron, a little bit less offset in relation to 790, a bit shorter blade length. Still got sort of medium top line, but really nice sort of shaping iron behind that golf ball. Lots of tech in there, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get one underway to start off with. Oh, that's a nice opener. So straight away there, visually very similar window that Ping came out of, that i59. Yeah, launch there, spin looks to be really similar, but straight away there, look at that ball speed, big jump on it straight away. And yes, we know there's 1 degree difference of loft, so we're going to expect a little bit of a jump, but that's probably a good, what, 4 or 5 mile an hour jump there straight away. So that carry distance has just popped up a little bit, but still maintain a bit of spin on that first shot anyway, 6,150 on that backspin. Oh, that's just a bit off the toe. It's just turned up the left-hand side, but it's, again, the trajectory hasn't changed at all there. Yeah, so look, that's an interesting one, isn't it? You look at that slight toe strike there. Ball speed is pretty much maintained there, 123. Spin's just dropped a fraction, but not a lot. Okay, so just talk a little bit more about the head in the 770. It's a hollow construction, very like what we see in the i59, obviously filled with that speed foam now, so that breaks up that sound. It does provide quite a nice sort of feel, but still a strongish sort of flight. We've got that speed slot on the bottom there, so those low hits maybe keep that flexing up, so just to try and maintain that little bit of ball speed on those low strikes. Tungsten in the head. As we've seen with the i59, we've got a bit of tungsten in that toe and also in the hosel there to help with a little bit of forgiveness. But again, the look-wise between these two irons, so just looking at these two down together in a playing position in terms of a visual of the looks, and slightly longer blade length with the 770 fractionally, a little bit of a thicker, more squarer top line with the 770 in relation to that ping, so possibly that slightly bigger appearance. Again, I mentioned this on my review video with the i59, the sort of polished toe section. When I say polish, it's not, it's like a satin, but the bit where there's no grooves is quite large to my eye personally, where it's not as big with the 790. So maybe that little bit of confidence, sorry, 770, maybe that little bit more confidence with the 770 there, just in that playing position. But it's a really nice sort of compact head. It's really nice looking golf club, sits great behind that golf ball. What's the word I'm going to use here? Again, I've just pulled that a fraction, but it just seems to, the ball just seems to pop off a little bit quicker. We're seeing that. Yeah, spin just a touch less, but again, we've got to take into account that one less degree of loft there. It's going to sort of obviously have a little effect on that, but it just seems to be, to me, feels a little bit more forgiving. Oh, that's stunning. Yeah, it just seems to have flown off there, but not like a low bullet. It's up there, it's climbed. That's a good strike, granted. 124 ball speed, really good sort of numbers. Land angle there, we're not sacrificing that land angle. 48 degrees, very similar to that ping. Be interesting to look at these numbers side by side, but we've got to get to that sticky talking point of the price tag of these two irons. So the i59, it isn't cheap, we know that. It's coming in around that £239 per iron price tag. It's hefty, it's right up there. P770 is around that sort of £145 mark, so there's a considerable difference of price point here. Again, your loyalties maybe to Ping, you might be wanting to spend that extra because you're a loyal Ping fan, or you just really prefer the look and the feel of that. Maybe, well, we'll have a look at the difference in performance here, but I think straight over here there's not going to be a huge amount, again, given that little bit of that difference of loft. Oh, that's a poorest strike there. It's flown pretty straight. That'll be an interesting one. That's going to really test that forgiveness. 119 ball, so definitely dropped. Spin's just dropped on that. But you see the carry hasn't, with that sort of that bit of a toe strike, a touch heavy as well. That wasn't great, to be honest. Right, there's a few shots hit. Granted, only 5 shots hit each, but let's get some ideas between the performance of that i59, the new premium iron from Ping, against the ever sort of solid iron of the P770. Okay, so let's first look at dispersion. Clear winner there for me. This that 770, very, very tight. Little bit more distance there, obviously through that, possibly that loft. Maybe just that short weak one I had with the Ping there, but I'm hitting 5 shots with each. There's a clear winner there, isn't there? Granted, it is only a small portion, but as you go out and test these, you're probably going to go in depth, hit a lot more shots, go into something else, go back to that particular iron, hit it again, those sort of environment through a fitting environment. So just looking at that side on bird's eye view of the ball flight, so the white here is the i59 iron, so we can see maybe just that little bit of that short right shot, which is that one there. Others, as we saw, it was a really nice sort of launch, good peak height, great descent angle, some good spin numbers, lots of control with that iron. you know, it's a very, very good iron, isn't it? You know, moving to that 770 of the orange, you can see very similar through that window, but maybe just that little bit less spin, just gets it a little bit flat at that top point. Still got a good descent angle there, but obviously that little bit more carry and a little bit tighter front to back. You know, my shots there were more consistent there with that 770. And then moving into the numbers, so we can see club head speed, very, very similar there, just short of that 90, which is typical for me. And then a big difference to that ball speed, so 118.9 as an average to 123. So if we look there on the drop-offs maybe, that first one I hit with a ping, which was 115, that was that little bit of a low strike. You know, that'd be an interesting one if I didn't really hit that low strike with that 770, but with that speed slot on the bottom, that probably would create a little bit more ball speed with the TaylorMade against that ping on that low on the face strike. But anyway, averaging just short of 119 to 123. Granted, as I say, we've got that one less degree of loft with the 770, so we would expect a little bit of a gain because of that 1 degree, but probably not sort of 4 mile an hour really. So possibly a little bit hotter off the face with the 770. Launch, see, just a touch lower, probably expect to see that. Spin, just a touch lower. So when we look at the peak height, very, very similar on the peak height as an average there, isn't it? And the descent angle, very, very similar. So there's not a huge amount of difference there, but from what we're putting into it as a club head speed and what we're getting in return as a ball speed, you can see the smash then at 137 against the 133. You know, obviously maybe the advantage a little bit with the ping i59 is you've got that little bit of that spin number high launch, a little bit more of that spin. Okay, there's a difference of yardage here though, isn't it? You know, as an average 179. But let's look at the front to back there. So we're going from TaylorMade, lowest shot 176 to 182. Okay, so there's only like 6 yards difference from that front to back dispersion, where we see a little bit more. So that first one did catch a bit thin, to be fair. So 161 up against 173. Taking that out of it, you know, you're looking at like 160, just short of 169 to just short of 174, so it's quite similar there really. Right, okay, so for me, two really good irons, slightly different to the performance, possibly that 1 degree difference, but a huge difference in the price tag. So post your comments down below, I'd love to hear your thoughts as always. Would you go P770 at the price point, or would you go at Ping i59? I'd love to hear your thoughts as always, so do post them down below. If you enjoyed the video, do share it around, hit the like button, do subscribe. If you haven't done so, very much appreciate it. Just click that subscribe button. While you're there, just ring that bell for future notifications, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.